very much. Aloha.
Supporters of presidential candidate Bernie Sanders rallied at Tulsi University just days ahead of the Maryland primary. Hawaii Congressman Tulsi Gabbard addressed the crowd.
Any major change that has ever happened in the history of our country has usually happened when everyone has said it's impossible.
Former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton handily defeated Sanders in New York on the 19th, meaning next Tuesday's vote becomes even more critical to Sanders' hopes to win the Democratic nomination. Clinton has been endorsed by many Democratic elected officials in Maryland and leads in recent polls. The 35-year-old Gabbard, an Iraq war vet, resigned her position as vice chair of the Democratic National Committee to endorse Sanders.
As a veteran of 2 deployments to the Middle East, got to a point of such frustration that the issues of war and peace were not being talked about in this campaign. That the differences between our two candidates were not being talked about.
Gabbard emphasized Sanders' message of opposing unnecessary regime change and unnecessary war.
Senator Bernie Sanders, who has voted against the Iraq war, where I served, and his commitment to end these continued unnecessary interventionist regime change wars that have cost our country so much and have actually undermined our national security.
She also cited her opposition to Clinton's support for a no-fly zone over Syria.
On Syria, she has talked about how she will put in a no-fly zone, something that will escalate that war and get us, the United States, deeper into conflict. And Senator Sanders, who has opposed that strongly. He has opposed the no-fly zone, just as President Obama has opposed it, just as leaders in the Pentagon have opposed it, because they see how dangerous it would be.
4 other East Coast states, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Delaware, also hold contests on the same day, with a total of 460 delegates up for grabs. Clinton maintains a substantial lead over Sanders in the pledged delegate count. The Real News asked attendees why they supported Sanders.
No other candidate has proved to help women as much as Bernie Sanders has time and time again.
I feel like Bernie Sanders knows what he wants to do with his platform and like being able to support all the young people and support college students.
He's unbold, unsold, and unprecedented. So I want to get money out of politics. That's what Bernie Sanders is going to do.
Yeah, I think Bernie is the only candidate who consistently stands up for working class people, takes the most radical approach to trying to get change.
We also asked his supporters about claims the Vermont senator could not compete in a potential November matchup against a Republican opponent.
I think he'd do fine. I think he has a voice of his own. He pretty much has a comeback for everything that people have said to him. I think he would do just fine.
It's preposterous that he can't win against a Republican because he polls like way better than Hillary Clinton. And he's also even showed that some states that are almost always red in the general election, that they'll flip blue if he's the candidate.
No, any Republican to run against him will fail.
We also asked for responses to corporate media reports Sanders does not have a path to victory.
I don't think that it's impossible that he could become president. Time cycles through. So things happen for a reason, things happen constantly at the same time, things happen repeatedly. So I think that impossible things happen all the time and impossible things can happen again.
And I remember we were saying after he lost New York, what do we do now? You know, and people were saying, like, should he run independent? Should we just give up? What's going to happen? But, I mean, we're still here, you know. Bernie is still running, and, like, he still will support us no matter what, so we need to show him that same support.
With Cameron Granadino and Cecilia Schillier, for The Real News, this is Jessel Noor.